Life is too short just to stick to a job because of a pension. I was into motorcycles and the riding season is so short.
Yeah.
Insurance is so expensive. Everything's so expensive in Canada. Horrible Canadian winter. I just thought, what the heck are we doing here? Let's move to Taiwan.
My guest today is a friend from Canada. He owns a lovely coffee shop called Bonbon Cafe in Pindong. But before we continue with today's interview, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and help me reach 100,000 subscribers. It's getting very close and I could use your support. Let's get back to the video now. Cole Fogel here, and today I am with, I'll let you introduce yourself. What's your name, sir?
Ken Chappelle.
Ken, where are you from originally?
Born and raised in downtown Toronto.
Which, we have that connection because I'm from Toronto. I'm from North York. How old are you again?
65.
65. Well, are you bringing sexy back at 65?
60 is the new 40. I'm 60 and I'm sexy.
What did you do there for a living?
When I first got my driver's license, I just loved driving. And my first car was an Austin Mini, 1973 Austin Mini. I just loved driving. I loved exploring and getting on the open road. And I just remember thinking to myself at the time, wouldn't it be nice if they actually paid you to drive? So I think my subconscious mind had directed me to that path. My first job driving was actually driving a plumbing truck in Toronto. And I was a young teenager. Then I went from there to driving limousine part-time, doing executive runs in the morning, funerals in the afternoon.
Oh, interesting. The energy must have been very...
Yeah, no kidding. And driving parties at, celebrities and parties and rock stars and actors.
Any one that kind of popped out where you were like, wow, this is cool?
One that was really memorable was, and we were hired to pick up Queen. I had Freddie Mercury, and I was the lead car, and we drove onto the actual field and circled around and drove to the Concert Bowl Theater.
Wow.
And you could just hear the roar of people getting excited when the limos. So I went from driving limo to working for the TTC.
Which is our public transit in Toronto, Canada. Okay.
I drove city buses and the subway as well. I operated the train system.
So how many years did you do that for?
81 to 88, so about 7 years. 7 years.
And then what happened after that?
Well, my dream had always been to drive highway coach. I wanted to get on the open road and explore. I wanted to drive cross country.
Because you had a desire to travel, obviously, it sounds like.
Then I decided to work for Trentway Wager, which was a tour company, local tour, which had then become Coach Canada.
So you must have been so happy when you finally got...
Yeah, when I gave up Go Transit, I gave up my seniority.
Oh, okay.
And my pension, and people thought I was crazy for doing that.
No, but I think it was worth it for your sanity, probably.
That, and I just said to the guys, I said, life is too short just to stick to a job because of a pension or because of your seniority.
I agree with you.
And that's where I met my wife on that.
Oh, okay. While you were doing the travel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was on my bus.
Okay. Annie, your wife, she's from Taiwan. She was on holiday from Taiwan visiting Canada. Is that how it was?
She was studying
in Toronto.
In Toronto.
Which many Taiwanese come to Toronto for that. Okay, so Annie was studying English in Toronto. She decided to go on a tour. You were the guy driving that bus.
Annie and her friends.
Annie and her friends, okay. Was it love at first sight for you?
I wouldn't say so. And I heard her friends. One of them was Japanese. They were praising Annie on how good of a cook she was and how she took care of everyone. My ears sort of sprouted open.
You were curious,
when I heard that. I thought, wow, because I was the confirmed bachelor. But I grew up in a household that, my mom wasn't a great homemaker. She was a great lady, and she loved us dearly, but...
she wasn't much of a cook, you're saying?
She wasn't a cook.
Yeah.
My dad would come home from the office hungry and exhausted, and he would have to throw something together for us to eat. And my mom would be in the garden all day. She had a green thumb. So she would be doing this.
She was a nature lady.
Yeah. So my best pal at the time when I grew up I'd quite often go to my friend's house for dinner, and his mother, she was an excellent cook, and I just thought, well, if I ever get married one day, I want to get married to someone like my friend's mom. And then when I heard Annie's friend talking about how Annie loved cooking, into cooking, I just thought if I was ever going to consider having a home, I would want
someone who knows how to cook.
A great homemaker.
Yeah.
Someone that would be happy staying home and taking care of the family.
Did you become a thing from that trip, or did you just exchange information? Like, what happened?
We just spoke,
chatted or whatever.
Chatted a bit. I think when we got to Atlantic City, we went to the casino and boardwalk and just sort of hung out.
And then from that point, I would imagine she eventually went back to Taiwan, would be my thought. Did you date for a while in Toronto before?
Briefly, we hung out briefly in Toronto.
Right, yeah.
We dated a couple of times. And then you're right, she eventually went back to Taiwan. And then she came to visit me so 1999 we met, so we were married in 2001.
So the year that I came to Taiwan, which was 1999, is the year that you and Annie met on the bus.
Yeah.
So 1999 was a significant year for both of us.
In August of 2001, we married in Arizona.
Wow.
We took a trip to Arizona. We married and did the Grand Canyon.
Did you live together in Canada for a while, or did you move?
Yeah, we lived in Hamilton.
For how long?
6 years, yeah.
And then after that, you moved to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Was it your idea to move back to Taiwan, or was it her idea, or mutual?
My idea.
Your idea. Was she happy in Canada?
Annie was quite content in Canada.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. What was your first year visiting Taiwan? I want to know that.
So that had to be 2000.
How long did you stay when you went the first time?
Just a week or two, maybe. We spent some time in Kanding, the beach. We rented scooters and.
What was that like? Was that your first time on a scooter?
No, actually, no. No, I had a scooter in the 90s.
Okay, so you had already had a feel for these kind of vehicles.
And I'd been riding motorcycles ever since I was a teenager. I think being a professional driver, I just learned to read traffic.
You can read You can read the energy of the road or whatever.
Yeah. It had been my dream my whole life to live somewhere exotic. And whenever I had vacation, it was always somewhere warm. My first trip was to Florida. And then from there, I would go quite often I'd go to Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica.
Cool.
Around the Caribbean. I just loved being on the island. The smell of the island. They grew sugarcane on the island. It had a sweet smell to the air. The turquoise ocean, the white sand, the palm trees, mountainous terrain. It was paradise for me. No horrible Canadian winter.
I think a lot of Canadians would say that about the winter. Yeah.
I was into motorcycles, and the riding season is so short.
Yeah.
Insurance is so expensive. Everything's so expensive in Canada. I just thought, what the heck are we doing here? Let's move to Taiwan. Let's pack everything up, sell everything off, head to Taiwan.
Was it an easy move for you? You're probably excited.
It was very easy, very exciting for me. And our initial plan was 3 years. We had 2 boys at the time. We had Adam and Aaron.
You have three sons.
Yeah.
Your first 2 were born in Hamilton, Ontario. And then the third one, Alfie, he was born
in Taiwan.
In Taiwan, okay.
Annie's family made it really easy for us. Annie's father had rented or had bought a townhouse for us and let us use that.
Cool.
So when we came here, we basically
life was pretty set up for you.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would say about fatherhood that's made you a better father now versus the father that you would want to share that is useful to someone listening?
I think the key is to having more patience, not losing your cool.
But we all go through it, and every parent loses their cool, you know?
It was tough with my first 2 boys because they were always fighting tooth and nail. They were always fighting,
that's Jason's
always fighting. That drove me crazy.
Yeah, but normal.
They were in the back seat of the car, and I would be driving, and they'd be fighting, bickering over everything.
Some people say like having 2 kids is like an army, but if you have a third, it's not a big change. Do you agree with that?
When we first had Adam for the first couple of years, it was great. It was fantastic, and it seemed really easy and effortless. We just thought it was a fun trip. Let's do it again. Let's live it all over again. And then when they get to be young little tots, is when they start driving you crazy. That's when you realize, geez, did I make a mistake?
Yeah, why did I do this?
Having one was so easy, but having two was tenfold.
And then how many years went by after your second son before you had your third son, which is the one you had here in Taiwan? How many? Quite a few years, right?
Quite a few, yeah.
Was it an accident,
It wasn't
or
planned.
it wasn't planned?
We didn't plan on it.
I mean, I don't like the word accident. I mean, it was unplanned.
Yeah.
Was it challenging?
You know, when you have a baby, you just enjoy the different phases, and you enjoy all the process. And then when they grow up so fast. Well, my middle son, Aaron,
yeah,
is 19 now.
Yeah.
And he went from 12 to 19 in the blink of an eye. 12, he was still a cute young boy.
Yeah.
And you would still read to him at night. Now he's a young man.
You have some interesting hobbies.
Well, ever since I was a kid, I've always dreamt of flying. I thought,
cool.
If I ever die, I want to come back as a bird. In the mid-'80s, I enrolled in a hang gliding school in Ontario, Canada. I learned how to fly ultralights, and I loved it. But then when I came to Taiwan, around 2012, my sister and her kids came to visit me, and one of the things we decided to do for the day was to go paragliding.
Wow.
There's a paragliding
in San Dimas area.
San Dimas.
Yeah.
I took a ground school and learned how to kite, and then I started flying. We would take off from the mountain and fly, getting ridge lift from the onshore breeze coming from the ocean. And you could fly for hours.
Without landing?
Without landing.
Whoa. You also understand woodworking, correct?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to also mention all the tables and all the design was you for this place, right?
Yeah. I've always been a DIY guy. From a very young age, I was repairing televisions,
wow,
radios. Now I'm rebuilding a Nikon camera.
Wow. How will you fix it? You'll get a book, you'll follow a guide, and then you'll figure out which thing needs to...
I took it apart, I'll put it back together again. It just needs to be cleaned up inside.
But with your mind, you can just take it apart and remember how to put it back together? You don't need to follow an instruction?
That's just like putting a puzzle together.
Wow.
What I've got into recently is horology. I've started watchmaking, which is fantastic.
You put the magnifying glass on and you... Wow.
The eyepiece, yeah, it's fantastic. It's a great hobby.
Okay, final question. Do you have any life advice that has helped you in your life that you would want to share that's been useful to you?
Just try and find passion in your life. Passion's key.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Well, I appreciate this chat, brother.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for sharing. Bonbon Cafe is in Pindong. They have literally the best cakes I've ever eaten in Taiwan. Thank you, Ken, and I want to say have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And I will see you in the